Hi, I'm Chuck Dorsett for Weaver Leather Supply, and this is the Leather Element. If you've got a good question for us or a good idea for a leather element, drop it in the comment box below. Also, if you want to know when our videos release, just click your notifications. You'll know exactly when these come out. So we've got a couple of questions from some folks. What would be some good stamps for us costumers? We've got a bunch of options here. In fact, enough options to break this up into two parts. So in part one, we're going to look at 6 or 8 stamps that are going to work for us. Part two, let's start combining those stamps, see what we can come up with. But the biggest point here, let's have fun with it. And that's exactly right. Let's have fun with this. And I've got to tell myself that, because on camera, doing stamping, everything's got to be perfect. No, not the point. Let's just look at some cool stamps here. So we're going to start right here with our flared cross. This is a cool stamp. It's got a little bit of a Crusader feel, or maybe a Maltese cross feel. There we go. Very cool design. Now let's back up here, because the leather, I've cased this. It's ready to take a good stamp. And on our leather, this is the Shaheen Natural Strap, 8 to 9 ounce. But if we're going to stamp or carve, this or the Herman Oak is the way to go. So we've got a cool design, looks good, but it's not very big. Well, this could make a nice border design. Not bad. That would look pretty cool on, say, maybe the edge of a pouch or some arm guards, but it's a smaller design. We need to spread this out, and we're going to look at that in part two. But let's at least work with this. Well, first off, let's just go top to bottom, see what happens. Well, that's actually kind of cool. We've got a second design emerging there, but we can still see the cross, absolutely. Well, let's stack this diagonally. Now, I'm kind of running out of room here, but we'll get a good feel for this. So what I'm going to do, we've got our 2 points on the edges of the flared cross. So I'm going to do my best to try to line those up with the 2 points on our tool. And that's actually a pretty cool design. Now, it would be best if we took our time, if we're going to do something like this, let's take our time, make a template. Therefore, everything's going to line up. But here, we're just doing this by hand. That's pretty cool. The problem, though, here is that we start to lose the cross. We more see the design that's standing up. But again, in part two, let's take this stamp, add another stamp or two to it. Let's see what happens. Okay, next up, these 3 stamps have a nice Celtic, almost a tribal feel to them. The first, simply a border stamp, but it's got a very delicate line in there. That's going to look good on a much smaller project. But let's first off use this simply as a border stamp. And one more. Well, that's a nice border. Let's do this. Let's take this, reverse it, and then offset against that. My spread here, 3/8 of an inch. There we go. We've got a serpentine look to that, and we can really squeeze that down, make that a very thin line. But also, if we can get these lines to meet, that looks good. Now, we can also use this to create a border or a small box. Now, I've got 2 lines, 5/8 of an inch spread here. Makes a cool little box. Now, I could have done a much better job right there and right there, but that would look good. We can add an additional stamp inside that or a spot. That would make a nice border stamp, but also makes a great border. And one more with this. And we've got a nice box there, but we can also reverse that. There we go. Nice design on the inside. Now, I should be using a template on this, but nonetheless, we're getting a point here. So on this, now we're going to jump up to two tools. We've got a border stamp and we've got a geometric. But again, we've got some nice matching lines in these. So let's start simply with a border stamp. Actually, pretty cool. How about we offset that like we did over here? Yeah, there we go. Again, we've got a different design emerging, but I like these tools. It's a larger tool. I feel like I can line these up a little bit better, but the same thing here. Very nice, and we can do the same thing on the inside, but now we've got the same tool, but now we've got a geometric, and this makes a nice design. There's a very cool design, great place for another stamp, and again, a good place for a spot. Okay, so the next two, these are a basket weave, which doesn't really seem to make sense, but actually it does. We've got a cool little tool here. Simple basket weave, but we've got a nice Celtic knot design in it. Now, up to the early 1800s, basket weave not going to work, but we can use this to make some pretty cool designs. Okay, so there's our stamp. Nice, crisp, clean. I can absolutely see that knot work. So let's turn this into a geometric stamp. We've got a pretty cool design there. And we really don't see the basket weave in that. But also, and we'll do more of this, if we add another tool, like our circle burst, let's drop that right in the middle. Yeah, there we go. Well, we see the knot, we see the circle, but we really don't see that basket weave. Kind of a cool design. And next up, a Triweave basket weave. We've got a cool little Celtic knot here. One thing I love about this tool, well designed, there are points at each corner. So that allows us to more easily line this up. Yeah, okay, there's our stamp. Now I'm going to work out from that. And I'm going to drop those 2 points right in the 2 points we've already got. There we go. We can see that pattern. But also, again, those little points make it so easy to line it up and to make it look good. Now, the next two, not necessarily period, but I like both tools. Some of my favorites. This is technically a border stamp, but if we use it in a basket weave design, makes a nice geometric. Yeah, there's our stamp. Very cool design. That'd be great for a much larger project. Maybe say a journal cover. And a smaller tool, very similar. But again, I just like the design of this. And it gives us very crisp, very clean lines. Yeah, there we go. And again, an easy one to line up. So let's do a basket weave. That looks pretty good. And of course, we can absolutely do a border stamp a couple of different ways with this. So let's start right here. Still a little bit wet down on that end. But let's stack these left to right. Pretty cool design. All right, how about top to bottom? I like that for a border stamp. Very cool. So many ways we can go with these tools to make gorgeous designs. Let me restate that. Unlimited possibilities for some gorgeous designs. So first off, I hope you see a stamp here you like, a pattern you like, you want to add to your projects. But my bigger hope is that you see something here that sparks an idea to where you can make a design that is absolutely your own. I love the stamps simply because there are so many possibilities. Pick up a few tools, see what happens. All right, so part 2, let's connect some of these together, see if we can come up with some pretty cool designs. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for taking time to watch The Leather Element. Good luck with your projects.